Welcome, everyone, to this very haphazardly thrown together one-off special episode of the Testing Room and
the Two Worlds podcast.
I'm so glad you didn't F that up. That would have been so embarrassing for everybody if you just sat in silence. And
he just leaves the Zoom call right then.
But we are doing a very fun episode. So this is not a D&D episode this week. But some stuff happened.
Especially because this is also on the Two Worlds podcast YouTube, so it definitely wouldn't be a D&D episode.
yeah, that's true. Hello, everyone that's never seen us before. My name's Alex.
And that's Preston.
Yeah, then we have a
It's
Preston,
not going to be in the same point, so don't worry about it.
And we have a Christian here. I don't know if they want to say hi and like introduce themselves.
I'm Christian. This is different because we usually we also never use our real names. So
we 100% always use our real names. It is just
we also add the
preceding
AKs.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we always use our real names, by the way.
Yeah, it's like AK.
So
if you're here,
yeah, what's going on, Jake?
If you're here from Two Worlds podcast, then you know all of these gentlemen already. I don't think all of them have been together on the show.
No.
So that's a first. But
we're not even together on our own show.
Right. Unfortunately, Casey became very sick today and could not record. So I was just like, oh man, I know Christian and Preston read comics. I'll shoot them a text and see if they're available last second. And then it just became this. Like, how about we both, or all four of us, do an episode that we use on both shows? So
why not?
Also, I know you were probably staring at Christian when you said you shot a message to Christian and Preston because they read comics, but you definitely shot it to me and you left Christian out, which I appreciate.
Because he also left me out this week.
Yeah.
Don't, because we will go. Yes, you did 42 times. In fact, you did.
Can I say this is nothing to do with what Christian just said? I'm going to ignore it.
Yeah,
I'm really digging the mustache, Jake. You got a strong mustache going on right now. How long does it take you to grow that?
Probably 2 weeks. I've been rocking it for a little bit, just trying something new. I've gotten a lot of compliments though, so
this has been somewhere in the range of like 12 to 13 years and has never gone clean shaven since. I'm kind of worried that like if it does go away, it'll never come back.
Sure.
But you have a very strong, like nice, thick, like full mustache. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It was one of those things where before your mustache, I was like, that's a very handsome man. There's no way he could get handsomer. And then you got a mustache and I was like, oh man, he did it.
Oh man.
Christian wants
Premium gas.
Yeah.
Also, if you can see, just notice in the camera there, you have a nice little addition to that it depends on which way you're sitting. Your right hand, maybe? Or is your left hand?
Yes. I got a new tattoo last week. It's Navi from Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Well, I guess it could be any of the Zelda fairies technically, but to me it's Navi.
It can't be any fairy because the larger fairies do not quite look like that.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, they are quite developed in the games.
Man, somebody's in a actually mood today. I'm sorry he interrupted about your tattoo, Jake.
Well, actually, there is another little small fairy too. I don't know if you've played other Zelda games, but yeah, there's definitely like a different colored fairy that's just the same size.
Yeah, I mean, it could be Tattle or Tail from Majora's Mask.
My favorite.
It's up there for me too.
What's your favorite, Preston? Is the game your favorite or are those fairies your favorite?
The game is my favorite. This is not another new kink that Preston has. No, it's my favorite game.
We should get a thing for when on the Discord to do like a little video animation where anytime something happens, it's like the Xbox achievement pop up, but it just says new kink and
new kink acquired. Yeah. When you want to talk about the Great Fairy, it's a different situation.
As soon as we get it, it would be like you're playing a game offline, then you connect to online, all of a sudden the trophies just pop one after another. That's what we had to do the first time because he has so many. So we'd have to pop them all at once, and then whenever a new one comes by, we could pop it again.
Very versatile.
All right. Well, Jake, I don't know if you're joining us or we're joining you. We'll say we're joining each other. So typically we start our week off with Preston Comment Corner. Do you have any objections to jump over to Preston really quick?
No objections.
Okay. Well, we don't have a huge comment corner this week. I do want to say apologies to anyone who subscribes to us on Twitch. Preston's been gone for a week by the time this comes out. We missed a Snap Sunday. We missed a Star Wars Wednesday. Star Wars Wednesday was mostly my fault. And then Snap, I just had family on for the weekend. I'm like, family's more important. So I did that thing.
First of all, I appreciate you saying family's more important. It shows you're growing. But is that gonna set you back at all in the rankings? Like how are you doing missing a few hours?
I didn't say I didn't
Sunday?
play Snap at all. I just didn't stream it on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. I say I'm a little disappointed that you're not more family is temporary, Snap is forever. I'm just kidding.
No, but to be fair, Jake, he did clarify. It's not that he didn't play Snap. He just didn't stream it for the world to see.
That's true.
I did not play Snap while my family was in town.
Yeah.
I hung out with my family.
Not a single time.
Not a single time.
Some people are all about that grind and some aren't. And that's okay.
That is okay. I think that's a difference between diehard players and people that are going to make it. And then I think
casuals.
Casuals. People that
casual garbage people like
level 100 for a couple seasons in a row. So, but hey, you can hang your hat on the fact that one time you did it. Okay. Kind of like that Letterman's jacket.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, we'll get everything going again just fine. This coming weekend, by the time that you're listening to this, we've already started back up again. But yeah, just in case you're wondering why there wasn't a release for the Jedi Outcasts on the YouTubes, or if you didn't see any notifications this week and you were looking to hang out on Sunday, sorry. We'll be back next Sunday, and we'll be good. I got some new decks and some new fun things to do on Sundays, and we'll see how long Jedi Outcast lasts, because the next level is going to be a big old pain in the ass. But yeah, other than that, nothing else for the comment corner unless anybody else has anything. If not, I would like to bring it over to Jake because I know that at the beginning of his podcast, he likes to do the Marvel trivia. So Preston's comment corner can turn to Jake's comic corner, and we go from there.
Look at pitching ideas. Preston's looking to
I had this when I was walking. We were talking about a joint podcast. We turned Preston's comic corner to Jake's comic corner.
A podcast conglomerate over here.
I know, and also at the very end, Jake, if you wouldn't mind, I know that you're not going to do your weeks of podcasts here with us today, even though I would love it. If you want to give us your favorite podcast or like your pick of the week, if you will, I would love to hear that since you're going to be missing this week.
Favorite comic?
Of this week that you read, that the pick of the week that you usually do.
Yes.
I would love to hear which one that is for this week.
Absolutely.
Preston has podcast takeover on the brain, but we know what you mean.
Okay.
No, because you said
in this damn place.
You said favorite podcast. That's why.
I'm sorry. I meant to say
twice. Actually, you said it twice. So
that's all right. We're all just excited and like baby deer because we don't know what we're doing. So
10s all around.
But yeah, so I drew because there are 3 of you. I got 3 cards here. And it's two questions per card. Okay. Some are tricky, some are real easy. So
your boy's gonna go 0 for 3, just so we're clear.
Okay, so all right. Alex, I'll ask the first 2 to you.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, my hands are getting sweaty.
What Iron Man adversary derives his power from 10 power rings?
The Mandarin?
It is the Mandarin.
Yes.
Oh boy.
All right. 50. I can at least go 50%.
The second question is multiple choice. So if you want the choices, let me know.
Okay.
What Marvel character was first able to physically separate Bruce Banner and the Hulk into 2 separate entities?
Oh, goodness. I feel like it's going to be somebody that knows magic. I'm going to ask for the multiple choice.
Sure thing. A, Tony Stark. B, the leader, or C, Doc Samson?
Cool. So I was off completely. We're
Wow,
gonna go.
fake fan.
Yeah, yeah, true. It's fine. Jake knows that I typically prefer both indie and DC comics, though I do like the Marvel movies a lot. I prefer DC comics. I only know one of those really well, and I don't want to go with the given one for Tony Stark, though I feel like it could be Tony Stark. I'm probably gonna bite myself in the ass here, but let's go with the leader.
Incorrect.
I would have picked that one
Wow,
too.
Double fake fan.
The answer was C, Doc Samson.
Damn it. Okay, well, at least I knew it wasn't Tony Stark.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Doc Samson was going to be my guess because it had Doc in it. And so I was like, the doctor, he's got to be able to figure it out.
well, I thought that too, but I thought that was just like the given. Like that's the trick one.
I don't know Doc Samson, but I know the leader is an actual like Hulk villain, so that's why I would have picked that.
Well, they're not easy. They're not
No.
easy. All right, Preston, you're up next.
Okay.
What hero obtains his power by defeating Shu Lao the Undying, a mystical dragon?
That would be Shang-Chi.
Incorrect.
No, I'm wrong. I won't get the point, but it's Iron Fist.
It
I was
is
gonna say
Iron
Iron
Fist.
As
Yep.
soon as he said
Sorry.
incorrect, Iron Fist for sure.
Got my dragons mixed up. And
Yep.
Shang-Chi doesn't have to destroy a dragon, I don't think. So
I could tell you knew, so all good. And then the second question, Tombstone's daughter became a female version of what longtime Spider-Man foe? This one also has choices if you'd like.
definitely gonna take choices because I have no clue.
A, the Vulture, B, the Beetle, or C, Electro?
Tombstone's kid became like a copy of one of those villains.
Yep.
Oh man. I'm gonna go Electro. I don't think it's the Beetle at all, but I'm gonna go Electro.
It is the Beetle.
Oh well, I didn't even know that was a Spider-Man villain, so there you go.
I was gonna go Beetle, and only for like purely sexist reasons. Like I didn't see Marvel like putting a female on one of the really, really iconic ones. So out of all the ones between Electro and everybody was just like, yeah, let's go with the Beetle because side villain.
I don't think you're necessarily wrong there. I very much could see Marvel saying, let's go with the least popular one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right. And Christian, you ready for this?
Oh boy, am I.
All right. Question 1. After Spider-Man rejected his black suit, with whom did the symbiote merge to create Venom?
Eric from That 70s Show.
What I was gonna say.
Kind of right.
Yes.
I know I'm right.
And that character's name is
I don't know.
Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock. Yep. Yeah.
You knew who we were talking about though, so
Yeah.
just something.
Yeah. Everyone's favorite Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 3.
Mhm.
It was good old Topher Grace.
Yeah. All right. Question 2 also has choices if you need them.
I will.
After Asgard is destroyed, Thor rebuilds the realm in what Midwestern state? A, Kansas, B, Nebraska, or C, Oklahoma?
Oh god, they're all just flyover states.
If you have a hammer or Pegasus.
You said it's Nebraska, Kansas, or Oklahoma?
Mm-hmm.
There is no good answer here, by the way.
I don't know. Let's. Oklahoma?
I was thinking.
Christian wins.
Christian, I was right here with you on that. And what I love about that is the complete revisionist history of the whole Trail of Tears and removing people from Oklahoma and then just having other alien immigrants come and move in on the land. Now look how good we are. We let you have a whole You can have all this area in the
I didn't know what the fuck you were doing. When you were talking about Trail of Tears, I was like, what Marvel thing is this that you're talking? And then I was like, oh, you mean the real one. Oh,
It's the Marvel event. It happened a couple years ago.
Yeah,
It's my favorite Marvel comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this though, that the series that takes place, that was right after Civil War. So J. Michael Straczynski wrote that Thor series, and it has one of my favorite Thor moments of all time, which is Thor beating the absolute fuck out of Iron Man. Because my least favorite Marvel character is Iron Man. He's fucking lame as hell. And if you think differently, I don't give a shit.
Pew pew.
So,
I think mine's still Captain America.
well,
Iron Man's a close second, though. I feel you.
Allie agrees with Christian, and I don't understand why.
Now,
I don't get it.
It's like the
it's
Superman thing. Yeah.
It's only the it's not the winner. Whenever Bucky takes over, he's dope because he has a metal arm. So it's just shitty, lame Steve Rogers or whatever.
It's completely
Whatever.
based off of looks for you.
Yeah, yes, that's what all characters are based off of. Is look. When you look at a character, regardless if it's comic books, video games, or whatever, your first thing is, do they look cool or not?
Christian, tell me you like fighting games without telling me you like fighting games.
Yeah, that's also true. I've never heard somebody be like, I love this character. Their design's so shitty. Like I don't understand. Like that
no, people oftentimes like characters because of like some of the depth they may give to the actual character, like the character and the morals.
But you don't know that until afterwards.
Just like give me that metal ass arm.
You don't know that until later. So
Rogers.
when you're looking, you don't know that until after you've already committed to learning about something. So if you're a person who is perusing a shelf, character design is the first thing that pops that gets you to grab something. You don't go like the idea that somebody's going in and being like looking at Steve Rogers and being like, I bet he has the most impressive depth and backstory, so I will be picking this up for no other reason than his incredible writing. Is like you have no idea about that.
You can't even go by your logic anymore because how popular like variants and art is just for the collection piece, that like the cover could be completely different. Like if you're perusing, it might be completely different from like what you're actually going to see when you get inside to learn about it. That's
a comic thing, but I just mean in general when you're looking at characters. Like if you're like, oh, I'm gonna look at something, like the character design is the first thing that pops up.
I feel like this is why your friend circle is small. You walk down the street and you're like, you look dumb, dork, not talking to you. You're cool.
You don't. All you do is judge people, and you do it with me. What are you talking about?
Do not loop me in on
call your wife in right now.
She's reading. She doesn't
yeah. She's reading. Yeah.
She's busy.
Yeah, I'm sure she's super busy. They can't. Yeah, because you know that I would bet you $1 million she'd say exactly the same thing I just said.
There's no way to. There's literally no way.
There's just no way to.
We'll
know.
never know.
Never.
There's
know.
no way to know.
Yeah, except all the audio where you say you and me are linked all the time.
No idea what you're talking about. Don't use your words against me or my words against me.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So yeah, this Thor comic, right?
Yeah. If the Two Worlds podcast audience wasn't ready to get derailed a bunch, then boy, I am sorry, but this is what this episode is.
They know. But to finish the thought, Thor wasn't a part of Civil War because, let's be real, whichever side has Thor, probably gonna win. Same thing with Hulk, right? Hulk wasn't there either because he was doing Planet Hulk. Thor was dead at the time, and while Thor was dead, good old boy Tony Stark uses some of his DNA to create a clone, essentially, to help their side. So Civil War ends, Thor gets reborn, he takes his ravaged
comic
people.
Civil War, right?
Yes.
So no,
yes,
okay,
the only one that matters. The movie, not good. He takes his ravaged Asgard and moves it to Oklahoma. And Tony shows up and he's like, hey, Thor, you've been gone for a while. We do things differently now, and you're going to have to register with the government. The people need to know who you are. And he was like,
I'm gonna need to see them papers.
It's like, oh, okay. Remember when you used my DNA against my will when I was dead and, created this monstrosity that killed a bunch of people? I'm going to kick your ass now. And he does exactly that. And it's fucking incredible.
That's awesome.
Nice.
He beats the shit out of Tony, destroys his armor, and then he's like, now you have to walk back to New York because his armor was just so fucked. And then he just flew off and left him there. And I just love it. It's one of the greatest Thor moments ever. Really, that's really awesome. Cool.
By the way, I love your comic hot takes. Like when you're like Civil War is a bad movie. I just it gives me energy. I love that.
Well, I'm not too many people feel the same way about it as I do.
I know, that's why I said, but that's why
I guess that's what makes it a hot take, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, it's fine. I liked Civil War. Not my top like 5, but I like Civil War.
Okay.
You just like so like there's a difference in somebody like that doesn't own a comic shop, right? And not you just take it for what it is. You just have like I'm sure we would all feel different if we were as invested in the character. Like I hated the Flash, right? The Flash movie because I love like the Flash comics, and then when I see Ezra Miller and all the bullshit they did, not to mention that CGI, but all just the plot holes and logic, like I get it, right? Because I'm invested in that character, so I understand why you don't like a lot of these Marvel films.
I'll say I liked the comic book run of Civil War more than I liked the movie, but I did enjoy the movie.
That's good. That's good.
Because I'm not
maybe wrong, but that's good.
People die in the comics. Like there's no stakes in the movie.
Well, but people come back in comics all the time, right?
Yeah. Yes, you are correct. But
there's like humans that die also.
But
so
but
like
you can
people do.
But in a comic, even if they come back later, like people will die. And so when you're reading it, you're like, oh crap, like I can't believe that happened. You don't go into a Marvel movie. You go into a Marvel movie knowing that no one will die, right?
Right. Because while characters that die in comics nowadays usually come back right away, that wasn't necessarily the case when the Civil War comic came out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Barry Allen was dead for 30 years in the comics. The original Jean Grey was dead for 30 years in the comics. Like it could have been
like 30 years in comics now, or like 30 years in like runtime, like
30
real
years.
Yeah, like
that's dope. That's cool. Yeah.
So you never know. But nowadays,
Yeah.
It's going to be like a year.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. Well,
there are parts of the movie. I'm not saying the whole movie shit. There are parts of that movie that I like. It's just, it pales in comparison.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But
yeah, Marvel's doing a real good job at like retconning all of their halfway decent decisions too with their latest shows and just making everything worse.
And we'll actually get into that whenever we talk about some news later.
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
There's something that ties directly into that.
Talking about how much shit.
I did have one little story that I had to share.
Yeah.
From this last week at work. So every week I do what's called the FOC. It's the final order cutoff for books that are coming out. It's usually about a month from the FOC date. And I always love the last page or two because that's like all the super random comics or like hardcovers or trades that are coming out. And you just never know what's going to be on that last page. And I was not prepared for what was on that last page this week.
Oh,
so are these new comics too? Like, is this where you would find like the new runs of just like indie stuff as well?
Yep.
So you never, okay.
All of that. So there was a Disney hardcover that was on this FOC. And it was an Uncle Scrooge comic.
Oh, no.
But it was Uncle Scrooge double feature War and Peace and Les Miserables.
What?
Whoa.
I'm like,
amazing.
I'm like, one, who asked for this? And two, what dude ripped a huge line of coke off his desk and was like, yes, you can do
and
this.
Greenland. Yeah.
And
what the
three,
fuck?
what roles does Scrooge play in these depressing ass tales like War and Peace and Les Miserables? Like, are you the villain in both? Like, what is this?
It's like, you know what the classic by, Russian author Tolstoy could really use, what it could really use to drive home
screaming bah
the
humbug
points
in the middle of it.
is Scrooge McDuck. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
come on. I don't understand. But, I sat there and laughed for like 45 seconds straight.
So
I was
the real
just like, this is
question-
insane.
The real question is, did you order a copy?
I really thought about it, but I did not. I was like, at
Coward.
the end of the day, do I really
I'm
want to
not-
read it? No.
I'm not
Yes.
gonna lie. After looking at it online, I might order it. It's only $30. It's not just Uncle Scrooge. It's Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck.
No.
There you go. Double duck, double feature.
True.
Preston, I know you say no, but like, imagine the conversation starter when somebody walks over to your house. They're like, "Is this War and Peace with Scrooge McDuck?" And you're like, "Yes,
That's your coffee table book.
that is what it is."
No.
So yeah, absolutely insane. Had to share. Jesus.
And somebody ordered
Incredible.
that, huh?
No,
Was that
but,
just
but you could have.
You could have.
Yes.
Man, I really wish somebody would have ordered it. I would have loved to have talked to that person.
Maybe we'll do a book club.
Yeah.
Hey,
Just
it's
saying.
an idea. It's an idea.
Like, Les Mis is also, it's just a musical. So is
Correct.
there any sort of like musical cadence in this? Or is it just the text version? Because like, even how much better would that be if this double duck feature just involves some like nice chorus in it, right?
Sure,
that would be incredible. Nice Shakespearean book.
The lovely voice of Donald Duck.
Yeah.
Just cleaning it up the entire time. Yeah.
Singing about being on Poverty Row and like having to sell his body.
Man, you guys are making me regret not getting it more and more.
You should. Yes, you should. You absolutely should have.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
Next time you see something like that, hit me up and I will crowdfund it. I will get you that money.
That's true. We all would have chipped in $10 for that.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yep. Well, hey, it's not too late. Maybe after this pod, I'll just order it so that we can look at it live.
Yeah.
There you go.
Can anybody do a Donald Duck voice? We could all take a part. And then, of course, the one that could do the Donald Duck voice just quacks through the whole thing. It'd be great.
It would be
I'll work on it.
a live production.
No, we'll just put it just get one of those like AI voice generators for Donald Duck and then just put all the lines in. Done.
Christian over here, an AI supporter.
Yeah. Hard stance,
AI
huh?
voice for fake characters is not the big deal that I think you think it might be.
That's the voice actors.
I also think it's pretty ballsy calling Donald Duck a fake character. I've seen him in person multiple times.
Oh, right. I forgot you're a Disney adult. Please get him off this call.
Oh no, the mute button.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Somebody who
I'm
cries
sorry.
at seeing the Magic Castle. Click.
Oh, you're no fun. No
Yeah.
fun. All right. Cool. So why don't we take a couple weeks? We'll come back. I mean, Jake, I know you have more for us too. But we want to dive into a week. Who wants to go first? For anybody that doesn't know, just so you know, if you're new to our podcast, we're primarily a game podcast, so we're going to recap kind of our week in gaming, and then Preston likes to recap his week in gaming and TV shows because he has a bunch of different vices that he dives into, and likes to share them. So,
Preston,
I
I
wanna go
fully,
first?
I fully expect part of your week to be at least one comic that you've read.
You want me to talk about one? I can talk about one comic I read. I talked to you about it this week already.
Just saying, whenever you get to your part, I got to hear something comic related.
Let's do it right now since we're talking about it, shall we?
Would you
All right.
call it something comical, Shake? No, dad joke too much. Okay, it was worth a shot.
You were really on one tonight, sir.
Yes. You gotta get one
Just-
bottle of wine in already.
No, I only had the beer, but just wait until Wednesday, my friends.
Oh yeah.
Wait until Wednesday.
We'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, my week. I can start off with the comic that I actually read. So I try to read at least one comic a night. We got the Hellfire Gala that came out about a week or so ago, which is the annual issue they do for like mainly it's the X-Men issue, but Hellfire Gala, the Marvel Universe is invited, and everyone shows up for the mutants to talk about what they can do for humanity and to vote for on the next X-Men roster. And this Hellfire Gala was pretty good. I think the last one before this one was like, hey, we can clone mutants and we can make medicine for humans through some of our new technologies we have. And the one before that was, hey, we have this new area which the mutants can have their own like wonderful world or nation in with Croaco. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Krakoa?
I think.
Krakoa, that's right.
Yeah.
I always get it messed up. But yeah, it's this year they were like, hey, I'm gonna get the new mutants in here and we talk about more about our medicine. And they started voting for the new mutants, and Rogue and some of the other Avengers like, hey, we got this call, like Steve Rogers' distress signal is going off. We got a jet real quick. And go see what's going on with that. Like, okay, well, you guys go do your thing. We're gonna do our X-Men kind of announcement. So they announced the X-Men. It's like Juggernaut, Jubilee, Dazzler, like a whole bunch of other names. And just as like they do like their final pose of like, hey, this is the new X-Men, Nimrod comes out of fucking nowhere. He's like, oh, he went through the Earth's atmosphere at a certain trajectory to where they couldn't like notice he was coming, and just destroys all but Juggernaut, like kills him. Like I think Dazzler's like torn in half, and Jubilee's like, fuck robots, and he's like, you don't gotta be so mean, and just punches the hell out of her and kills her. Ends up like using Juggernaut's own powers against him, and like just ends up destroying him as well. But yeah, it's Mr. Sinister and
very
other people doing it.
intense.
Yeah,
I like
it
to
is.
imagine that because of your Marvel snappiness, they just did like a Nimrod thing a little while ago, and Nimrod's kind of a random character to just like bring out for this. I don't read the story, so I don't know how much he ties into it, but like I just imagine you get to that part, you flip over the page, and all of a sudden Nimrod comes flying through, and you're like, I know him.
I know that one.
I
No,
know
it's
him.
he's a part of Orcus, which is like this like evil conglomerate, which is kind of trying to pretend like they're not evil, but they ended up putting like some type of like alteration to the mutant medicine they're giving humans, which means that like MODOK can press like do like a sound or like a broadcast to where it'll make everyone who's taking the medicine go absolutely crazy and just start killing everybody. Kind of like what they did. I think it happened in like the Kingsman in that one movie, to where like people just go mad crazy. And they're like, it's like, we'll do this right now unless Professor Xavier has all the mutants leave right now. You all go to Mars or whatever through the portals, which are here. That's how they get to their little special mutant world. And you go leave, you tell them all leave right now. You make them with mind control. And he's like, fine, I'll do it. Just leave the humans alone. And they all go through these portals that are now red. So they go through the portals, and Moira Tagger, I think that's that pronunciation last name, comes out, and she has this like dagger that allows her to just kill a mutant like immediately. Like I guess no matter what power they are, but there's like something special in it, like kill like psychic people. I don't know. It was in a spin-off, and I don't know about it. But she comes in, she kills Jean Grey immediately, who was like trying to like save people and keep people from dying. And then after like Professor Xavier like tells everybody to go through, they're like, oh, by the way, we also fucked with your portals, and everyone you sent through those portals is now dead. So except for the mutants who were trained by Professor Xavier to stop themselves from getting mind controlled by him in case something happens. So there's like very few people who actually like survived that. Like he said, like 250,000 people he killed in that like instant. And it's just insane.
As you're describing that, I giggle to myself because the only thing I imagine is like one large portal, kind of like that, like, the gate in WoW, right? That takes you from like the Burning Crusade over. And I assume she is on the other side with her dagger, and as everybody walks through, she's going, poke, poke, poke. It's just, Christian knows there's like bodies are piling up, and they just come through, just like, gotcha again. And there's another one. Oh, gonna poke you.
Yeah, she also like pretend like they had like ammo or something like that, or she can only like do it to so many people before like it ran out of its mutant killing ability, but yeah, it was pretty intense. Professor X almost got it, and then Rogue came out of nowhere back from wherever the distress beacon was and came and saved him because she's a badass.
So can I ask you, and Jake, you might be able to answer too, the Hellfire Gala, it's in like his third year, right? I think. Is it a similar story or a continuation, or like how does this work? Like how are they doing a Hellfire Gala every single year?
It kind of just sets up what the X books are going to be focused on for the next year, which I think is kind of neat, really.
Yeah. It's almost like an X-Men like annual, but not. Like, this is more like hey, here's a new roster. Here's the new team of mutants we're going to have that's going to set off. And there's usually some big like invention or some thing that they have to bring to it. But also it's a nice, cool time because all the Marvel universes come together all dressed up because it's a big gala. So everyone has like a special outfit or dress they've designed for it. There's a lot of cool covers that come out throughout the first like month that this is kind of
like
coming around.
David Nakayama is like really popular one that does all those different covers and stuff.
They actually look like GQ or like
Vogue magazines and stuff. Yeah.
Those are really cool. But yeah, that was probably one of my favorites recently. It was very cool.
That's an interesting way to do that. I like that versus just like one big event that may last for a few years. So you're just saying like, hey, it's almost this is a weird way to bring it around because this is dumb and I haven't watched wrestling since I was a kid. But like, it's almost like a WrestleMania, right? Like this sets up like the whole upcoming year.
It also helps change up the X-Men. Like you don't have to like figure out like a story plotline reason now anymore to like change the X-Men. I'd be like, no, we're gonna have a new roster this year and it might still have some of the same crew. Like I know like Cyclops and Jean Grey like stuck around from like the last one, but now they're like, no, we're bouncing out. Like we don't want to be a part of the X-Men right now because we got our own things to deal with. Obviously, Jane Grey's not going to be joining this year at all because she did.
I like that they do that too because there are so many X-Men characters, and I'm not even like very knowledgeable in the X-Men at all. But that should have a revolving cast because there's so fucking many of them.
Yeah, bring in new ones, give some spotlights to some others to kind of like some people everyone has their fan favorites when it comes to X-Men. So, yeah, it's a good one. Other than comics, well, I guess this is part comics. Still playing Snap, still doing good. Got a new deck I'm going with. We call it the She-Not deck. So a lot of She-Hulk, Infinauts, skipping turns, getting power through skip turns. It's a good one. Hey, I was having a horrible like past like week or two with it. I was like stuck at 70 in the rankings. I'm like, man, I'm losing some 8-cubers. Like I'm just not doing the bets right. I'm just not getting the cards I need for this the Thanos deck that I had. And now I'm like, okay, let's go look up some of the top decks. Let's try to mess around with them, see if they hit me well. And the She-Not deck is doing. I literally got multiple 8-cubers today and went from like 72. I'm now at like 84 in the day today, and I was stuck at 73 for like the past week. So Preston's
no idea.
Feeling pretty good about himself right now. I'm not gonna lie.
I have no idea why you're practicing Spanish as another language. Clearly, you speak a different language already. Like half of what you're clearly bilingual in both English and Snap.
Yeah, Snappian.
Yeah, Snap has been good. Spotlight again. We got the new card this week, Lady Deathstrike. We got her. This tonight is actually going to be another new card. It's going to be X-23. So I'm hoping to get that. I got Spotlight saved for her. So I'm hoping to get her too as well.
And not a baby variant.
Not a baby variant. Please don't give me a baby variant. I'm going to be very mad. And then we got no new updates on Jedi Outcast. We'll start that back up on Wednesdays here. We also have Final Fantasy 16. Been playing more of that. I'm about a little over 10 hours in now. Anything I talk about right now about Final Fantasy 16, it'll be spoilers, so I don't want to.
Yeah, you passed Alex.
Yeah, and then
but not by much. He's only 10 hours in. I thought he was like 25 by now.
No, I'm saying like from where he told me he's at, he's a good chunk past you.
I'm mainly it for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would like to say, I know me and Jake talked about this, but this is definitely a game that's up Jake's alley as far as like the storytelling and like doing like, families and areas and like the Game of Thrones kind of deal with it. Like you would love it. And it's definitely one of the best looking games I played this year. 100%.
It is very pretty.
It's an incredibly pretty game. Other than that, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk came out. I'm gonna let Christian talk about that more. I did touch it for about an hour and a half, just kind of defeat the first like level or boss area ish. And the soundtrack is there. The gameplay is there. It's what we wanted. Well, me and Christian are eating good right now, and Christian is gobbling that up. And I have to power through 16 before I touch that game again. I just need to focus. So that's what I'm doing now. I'll let Christian talk about that when we get to it. Other than that, no other real new games. We have, well, I have at least Baldur's Gate 3 downloaded, ready, because we are all four of us going to play some of that this coming Wednesday. Not in the stream or anything like that. It's going to be personal funsies for us. But yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun with that one once that comes up soon. And then I got two movies I watched, so I'll be quick about them. One was Netflix was starting to round down for me as far as my subscription. I didn't feel like going another month, so I'm like, okay, let's go through here, see what I want to watch. I'm like, oh, it's kind of like a lazy night. I'm just kind of chilling out, kind of want to play some Snap and put something on the background. I watched Power Rangers Forever and Always, the 30th like anniversary like movie, like, or a small movie they did for Netflix that brings in a lot of the old cast. I was kind of hoping to be more adult, but it's Power Rangers, so I get it. But I was kind of hoping to do in 30th anniversary, they would kind of make it more for the people who grew up with it, which it does. It gives a lot of nostalgia there. They redid a lot of the scenes, so the whole like animatronic of when they call on the Zords and they call on all bring it and come together, they redid all that, so it's all new, crisp, high definition looking, and they did like a CG fight scene with him and another person that they fight for the boss battle, and it was really good. The writing, it's about as good as you would think it for like a Power Ranger TV show. Like I think the writing was definitely a lot better in that last movie we got. That's the kind of level writing I would prefer. To kind of, I
own that movie.
I do too. It's not a bad movie. It's like I kind of like it.
Awful. It's not awful.
Not awful at all. But this one was good. The weird thing was that, okay, so the premise is, they're fighting a robot Rita Repulsa because Repulsa is apparently dead at this point in time. And
she might actually be dead in real life too, because she was not young when she did that show.
Well, Zordon sacrificed himself to get rid of Rita, but apparently Rita's like spirit was still in the ether, and somehow they got it back into this robot Rita. So they're all fighting. It's all the original Rangers fighting Rita right now, and it's all them in the suits. So like, obviously, like Tommy's there, but R.I.P. To Jason, and the Yellow Ranger's there as well, but she sacrificed herself to save the Blue Ranger because he's got like Rita does some like Kamehameha kind of bomb at him or whatever, and she's like no, and kind of does the whole jump in front of the bullet type of deal, and like Yellow Ranger is dead, like so dead to where it's like, oh, she has a daughter. The daughter is now gonna go live with the Black Ranger, and it was kind of fairly depressing, like losing like a parent kind of deal, and at the very end, it's like, oh, hey, and in respects to like these two, like forever and always Power Rangers kind of deal, because the original Yellow Ranger did die like in a car accident, which is I think why they actually changed it up later on. Obviously, they changed it up for the movie because the whole racial thing of the Black Ranger being black, Yellow Ranger being Asian, it's a fairly racist kind of thing. So they changed it up for the movie a little bit, and they kind of moved forward with that. But yeah, it's there's a whole lot of people who showed up who were previously in those movies or shows. For example, Johnny Young Bosch shows up. He's as one of the space police version of the Power Rangers. He helps out with
the SPD.
Sure.
Yeah, it was one of the shows after the OGs.
I dropped off pretty much after the movie. I didn't really do much of the shows. Anything that wasn't the Mighty
Big
Morphin Power
fan.
Rangers. Yeah, no. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I dropped off that. But yeah, it was fun romp. It was nice to see there. It's like kind of like a little nostalgia touch. But lastly, speaking of nostalgia, I went to go see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie.
How was it?
Mouthful. It was good. It was really good. I love the fact that they used kids to actually, teenagers to actually voice act the turtles, because they've let them do a lot of improv, because they're like, keep it in, because that's how teenagers would be. That's how teenagers would talk and joke around with each other. So there's a lot of laughs in there, and I love the animation style, because it still kind of does looks kind of like the multiverse kind of thing, but it's a very sloppy, lazy design to them. It's supposed to look like if a teenager drew it, like your Notebook back in the day when you were drawing turtles or like characters. So like some characters have like disproportionate faces and like necks to where it looks like something that a kid would draw. At first, I'm sitting here, and my sister said that, she's like, I felt like when they showed the news report that first time that like she was a mutant, because of how weird and like it's very like Picasso-esque, or like the eyes are a little bit off and like kind of like this spacing. And she's like, I thought she was a mutant, and then I kind of realized that was just the whole style of the movie. But it was good. The voice acting is phenomenal. Like all the mutants that they got to do all the voice acting, if you go through the roster in there, it's great. Paul Rudd does a fantastic job as the Gecko. Mondo Gecko. Very, very good. And yeah, it's definitely worth the watch. It wasn't, I think I overhyped it a little bit because the ratings were great and I thought the trailer was awesome and it was a good movie. It just
This was the Seth Rogen joint, right?
yes, correct. Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and there was somebody else who was involved, but those are the main three creators. But yeah, those people, they make great comedies. Anything I've seen them do, whether it was Preacher or some of their movies, like they're very good comedic writers, and they did a very good job with this as well. Ice Cube did a fantastic job as one of the main bosses too. Was that?
Did Preacher the FX show?
Yeah, it was a Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg joint.
Oh, that was not that much of a comedy. I guess it's very dark comedy.
It got pretty funny, but it was a very dark humor. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's good. I would say if you're a Turtles fan, definitely go watch it. It is like it's definitely aimed more towards the kids than it is adults, but there's a whole lot of like nostalgia beats. Like they get like a pizza van at one point, and it's like it's all yellow and green, just like the pizza turtle van. And my sister's like, you used to have that toy. I'm like, yeah, that's what they're going for right now. I can see what they're doing. But it was good. It was really good. I would definitely recommend for sure. Other than that, that'd be it for
also shout out to Rita Repulsa, who is she did pass quite a long time ago. To be fair, she was born in the 30s, so she would be getting way up there.
She's old as hell.
Would have been.
Rip to a real one.
Yeah, right.
So, and who knows? And unfortunately, we have no idea what she ever said because I have a very strong feeling that whatever she actually recorded in lines was not what we as American audiences saw. So we only knew her as a
Power Rangers was an American show.
Was it? I thought they took
it was dubbed though.
And we
was
it?
That's what I thought. I thought
the Power Rangers, but that was it. Which is why a lot of times you didn't like. So, for example, the movie, they would take off their helmets because they were actually in the suits. Like when they did the TV show, those guys didn't wear the suits. They just switched over, which is why you always saw them do the.
What were they? What did they pull from? Because
it was called Super Sentai.
Yeah, Super Sentai. Yeah.
Oh, so
which is like a real show. Like you can go and watch Super Sentai, and it's Japanese Power Rangers.
But I also feel like it's just Japanese, like robots versus kaiju, which is a great premise.
What's weird is the Japanese Power Rangers that I know is Kamen Rider.
It's different.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm just in my head. Like that's what I assume.
They have a lot of
I associate Kamen Rider with Japanese Power Rangers, but I did not know. Yeah,
Super Sentai is like the one they were actually ripped off of essentially and made American by switching out the main cast and doing their own like small pieces in between, and then tossing in all the fight scenes and all that. Cool
Did you have you guys, speaking of, I don't know why, I mean it's Power Rangers adjacent. Did you guys have either of you seen Shin Kamen Rider yet?
No. We were supposed to see in theaters.
Have you seen the trailer?
Mm-hmm.
Where he fucking like, it's because it's Ano directing it, but like when he does his little like the Kamen Rider like kick or whatever, it just like fucking the bag like explodes into like a fucking mist, and you're like, oh my god, like
it's so cool.
Yeah.
Christian, if you want to learn more about that Super Sentai show, there's an amazing TV show that's on Netflix called The Toys. There's The Toys That Made Us and The Movies That Made Us, right? And they like cover different things every episode. But in The Toys That Made Us, they do talk about Saban or Saban.
Saban's a horrible company that has never. They're bad, but
right. But they talk about specifically it's a Power Ranger episode. And they talk about how like the clips they took and the show they took and how they did it. It's really fascinating. So if you ever want to go watch that,
I will. Yeah, interesting.
It's very good. Yeah.
I was, for some reason, I just figured that somebody went and watched Kamen Rider and was like, yeah, we could do something like that. And then Saban just did it. But okay,
that makes more sense. It's worse. It says, oh, we have all this footage. Let's just bring in these Americans for 35 minutes a week. Yeah. Have them record some lines.
That's kind of like what we did with MXC, although MXC is great. I'm not sad at
and that is exactly what we did with Voltron. Voltron is just dubbed.
Yeah, true.
Man, capitalism, baby. Just gotta know how to work the system. Sure. Preston, is that all you had for your week?
That's my week.
There's one thing that you did not talk about. I'm incredibly surprised that is.
What I forget? It's been a while since we did the last episode, so I might just be missing it.
Well, I assumed there was a show that you were going to watch that drops tomorrow.
Oh yeah, but it hasn't happened yet, so I didn't want to talk about it just yet. But yeah, no. So Ahsoka comes out this week. At least they were recording the podcast. Yeah, it comes out this week. Yeah, so
tomorrow.
So it was supposed to come out on Wednesday. aka Tuesday night at midnight. And then Disney said, "No,
Oh,
fam, we're gonna
yeah.
make it to where it's Tuesday in the evening." I'm like, yes, because Tuesday's my day off, which means that I get to watch it when it comes out, which means I don't get spoiled by the YouTube thumbnails. All right, and I get to see my girl Sabine. I'm super excited to see her in live action. She's gonna be fucking amazing. And the fact that he said that I'm blanking on the name, director
Baloney.
Yes, Dave Filoni.
Dave Baloney.
Podcast brain. I start forgetting names.
Baloney.
Dave Baloney said this is pretty much going to be the next season of Rebels. They were going to, like, I think Alex told us, like, it was going to be the next season. They're going to do it animated, and they're like, oh, let's do Ahsoka live action. He's like, fuck it, let's make it a new season of Rebels. And he's like, all you need to do if you've never watched any of that is watch the last season of Rebels, which I might be doing a whole bunch of binging tonight to do so, and later on tomorrow. And then we're going to go ahead and continue on these. Like, yeah, just watch that last season. I'll give you all you need to know for the show if you wanted a little bit of extra on what we kind of mentioned. But yeah, I'm so stoked. I'm so excited for that. So excited.
Rebels is good. So
yeah, they're gonna be better than Secret Invasion. That's for fucking sure. I fucking trash fire.
Christian, why don't we? My week will be super fast, and I know Jake has some stuff for us here with news and tidbits. So why don't we hit your week real quick?
Yeah. I did not read any comics this week. I'm so sorry. I played a lot of a JRPG series that I continue to not stop talking about. But I finally finished Trails of Cold Steel 4. I counted that is my 7th Trails game this year.
I expect an entire thesis on that whole series when you're done.
I've already talked about it. I mean,
all the high points.
The problem is that I can't talk about any of it because if somebody wanted to, I can only talk about it with people who have beaten them or are playing them with me. So I have that. I do have a group chat going of people that I am playing them with and have beaten, or the person who started it all, who has beaten them all, so that I can talk about them and everything that's happening. Because if I could start naming everything that just happened and it would be gibberish. Like, it wouldn't make any sense.
I picture the Charlie Day meme.
Exactly. It's very close to that. Seriously. I will say it's the same thing I've always said, but so Trails of Cold Steel 4, I just finished. So that is a cap on basically the last 9 games that I've played. So the games, like the overall world will still continue, but for the last 3 series of all these different interconnecting pieces, everything sort of all converged on this one moment with, I think by the end of it, I had like 28 characters to choose from to make parties. And the game, you sit there and you're like, oh, well, I can just make the party of just pure killers, and that's what I want to do. And the game is like, no. You can do that for certain fights, but also it's good. It wouldn't make sense just to have all these characters just sitting here doing nothing. So there are certain missions and objectives where it's like 7 things are happening right now. So you need to break off hit squads out of everybody.
Like a final mission in Mass Effect,
and then
you're having to shoot.
So this is what I was going to get to. So thank you for saying that, because it is maddening to me that Mass Effect was a video game that came out and had the nerve to talk about a story and creating like one with choices and interconnecting things across all these different things, because it especially so. I've already said on this is many episodes ago, but I've already said before that when I replayed the Mass Effect trilogy on the Legendary Edition, I got like more angry at like going back to it, where I was like, this is not like, 1 is still fantastic, 2 is incredible, and 3 just like constantly just shits the bed the entire time that you're playing it. Whereas I used to be like, 3's, it's okay, like it's good, I'm fine with it, like it's fine, I'm not happy, but it's okay. And like, I was like, what are you gonna do? Like, it's really hard to do all that. And then after replaying it, I was like, this is bad. Like it steps on itself all the time and like fucks up really cool things that they did do in 1 and 2 and all sorts of other things. And now I'm like throw that whole thing in the fucking trash. Like it is maddening that I have a game that over 9 games has told the most fucking insane story that's like full of things like random NPCs that I do quests for remember me and will like talk and be like, yo, you did this thing for me. Here's like an extra little thing. Like, and when you start up Trails of Cold Steel 4, it reads all the save data that you had and is like, here's bonuses for finishing this game and this game and this game and this game and this game. And then it's like, and then choices imported from 3. And here you go. And it's like, dude, I just like it's wild. I cannot recommend the Trails series enough. It is incredible. And when I will get to Reverie at some point, it's just that it came out this year. So it came out here this year. It came out in Japan last year. So we're actually getting close to being like day and date with the Trail series, which is kind of cool. But it's a full $60 game right now. So it'll be.
How many hours do you think you put into those games?
I can tell you. You want me to tell you?
No, I can tell you. I just didn't know if you had a guess.
Oh, I mean, do you have all my completion times up?
Yeah.
Like, are you looking for all of them?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, then I don't know. I know. Okay, so the average is probably somewhere in like the 50-hour range because the Sky games and Azure and Zero I finished all around 50 or below.
Sure.
And then Cold Steel 1 and 2 are around that same time. And then 3 is like 74-ish hours. Yeah. And 4 is like 87 and some change.
So the whole series, how long do you think it's taken you to, how many hours this year or within the year have you played? So
just the 7 games that I've played?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Probably like 500.
477 hours.
Yeah. That checks out.
476.9. I love it. You've killed that series.
It's I mean, it's a testament to how
that
good
is just shy of 20 days, by the way.
Yeah, that checks out. I'm serious, man. Like when I put like I'm not joking when like a game ends in that series and it will always end on just the most ridiculous fucking cliff. I mean, Alex played through first chapter, so he at least got a taste of the levels of cliffhangers they leave. Like they're no joke. Like it's like
the first game is I'm sure the least cliffhangery because it's the first game, right? But even that is like you have no like it. Hey, we're gonna drop this bomb. There's a whole nother thing going on that you didn't know. We're gonna introduce you in the last. When I say the last minute and a half, I'm not kidding. The
game's like, hey, do you like anime? Because it's about to get real fucking anime in here, and then you're just like, what? And then it's like credits, and you're like, what the fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
And the best part is like when you load up second chapter, it's like it loads up from that exact moment, and so you're just like right back in it, and then. Same, third does its own. It's wild. Either way, it's great. I'm so happy. At least with Cold Steel 4, it ends in such a way. Well, so it's funny. There's 2 endings. There's the fake out ending that happens, and then the game literally loads up a separate page, and it's like, hey, so just so you know, if you go do all side quests and hidden quests. There is the true ending. So if you can do that, we'll let you load back. Or if you've already met all of those qualifications, if you press this button, we'll just load you right back into the fight and you'll just be able to keep it going. And I had already done it all because I had gotten warned ahead of time, like, hey, make sure you do all the quests. And so I was like, okay. I was doing them all anyway, but for all the other games. But I went through and did the fight again. Stuff happens, and then at the end it's like it's just this really nice. I got a screenshot of it that I can try to send to Preston. I guess it won't matter, but yes, well, you can try. But like, so I don't know that it'll fit because it is like I had to take multiple screenshots and then try, like, I'll have to stitch them together because that's how many characters are in this shot of things, of like an event that happens. And I was just like, holy shit. Like, I would need like 2 or 3 ultra wide monitors for this screenshot to fit on. But yeah, it's awesome. And I can't recommend the series enough. If you are into JRPGs at all and you're
Got
looking
about
for
500
one
hours of free time.
to do it, you don't have to play through them like I do. You can just go through them regularly. But either way, you can still they're very good, and it is up there with the best Final Fantasies, and it is just as good as Persona. Like the quality is there. It is very, very, very good. But yeah, so then after that is going to be my break for a little bit, breaking point before I do Reverie at some point. But there's other stuff that's coming out. So, like Preston mentioned, the other game that I've played is Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Yep.
So, for those who don't know, this is basically the sequel that we never got to Jet Set Radio. So, I know Jake knows Jet Set Radio because he's a Dreamcast believer, which is, yeah. But so Team Reptile, for those who don't know, is a company who has said that Jet Set Radio Future was like the defining game for them that got them into video games in general. And so when that studio was created, they made things that just gave off that same energy. Like, so Lethal League Blaze is it's probably their most popular title that they've done. And in that one, the art style is there, everything is there, but it's like a 2D sort of like fighter kind of. It's kind of hard. It's like an arcade thing at the same time. It's very hard to describe it. But they got Hideki Naganuma, who did the soundtrack for Jet Set Radio, to do like a song in there, and it just, with that art style and that dude's music, everything came together, and people were just like, dude, you need to do a Jet Set Radio game because Sega won't fucking do it. So just, you guys need to do it. You're the only ones who can. And for the longest time, their answer was like, well, I don't know. Like, we've always wanted to, but it would just be a lot, and it'd be a lot bigger than some games that we've ever made before. And then I think it was probably 3 years ago, Preston, is probably when they got it, right? 3 or 4 years ago is when it got announced.
Yeah.
But they finally came out and they were like, we're doing it. It's happening. And Preston and I have been waiting and waiting and waiting for this fucking game to come out, and it's finally here. And like I said, it's the sequel that we never got to Jet Set Radio, and it's perfect. Like, there's nothing I would change. They got Naganuma to come and do the entire soundtrack. So it's him again doing his thing, all new tracks. And it's like everything is evolved. Like it's what you would want out of a sequel. Like they don't go back and just like charge the nostalgia card and be like, oh, look, here's tracks that he's not, like, we'll just remaster tracks and put them in this. It's like, no, it's what you would want out of a sequel. Like it's similar to the music that he makes now, but you can still tell that it's him because it's his style. Like he does it. And so it's that the art style is there. They nailed the gameplay, and they've added like combat and other things to do. And they also, so for those who don't know, for Jet Set Radio original, it was just, you were people on rollerblades, and that was it. Like it was in a future city called Tokyo To, which is like Tokyo, but like way in the future. And so then you would do, this one is called New Amsterdam because the Team Reptiles in Germany. And so they do New Amsterdam. So it's like a whole thing. And then they got, but instead of rollerblading, they still allow you to do rollerblading, but then they also do skateboarding and BMX. So you can just choose whatever you think looks coolest and just do it. And there's no gameplay changes between any of them. It'll work all the same way, which I like because you can just choose what you want. It is incredible how they nailed the gameplay to be exactly what it's about. Like you press the jump button once and you're like, this is it. I like you
it
did
has
it.
that perfect, like slightly floatiness to it. Like that was the one thing I noticed. Like as soon as I jumped, I'm like, oh, okay, it's gonna be good. Like even
Yeah.
tutorial, like when you first just jump, you don't have like all the crazy stuff with it. Like that was the most important part to nail. It's like when you make a Spider-Man game, the swinging needs to feel good. Like the
Yeah.
floaty jump needs to be there for this one as well.
But like all of the just everything, like every part of the design is absolutely nailed, and it's great. So I've been playing that, and that's about it. I'm like just approaching the 50% mark. So like the game starts and it's basically like similar to Jet Set Radio. You're taking over this, like your street crew is trying to take over the city, blah blah blah. And there's 5 places to take over. I am currently in the middle of taking over the 3rd place, so I'm like just right around the 50% mark. But yeah, it's fantastic. I can't wait to finish it. But yeah, so I'm gonna play that up until Armored Core comes out later this week, and then I'm gonna be right into that. So
Nice.
that's it.
Well, my week is very quick. I played some more 14. I
Without
really
me?
think that's we're not getting into this. So I played some 14, and then I played another game that I'm really not ready to talk about yet. We'll talk about later after we all play it on Wednesday. So I'm very excited about that. We're gonna play some Baldur's Gate 3. And then beyond that, I played the game that for those of you that listen to our podcast, Testing Room, we're doing a current book club where we go back and play old games and see how they hold up and so on, where we're on our last part of our Metro, what is it, Metro 2033?
Yeah.
Right? Numbers, Metro
Redux.
2033.
Not necessarily just old games,
Redux.
because we play like more current, but yes,
It's true. I shouldn't say older games, but that's the one we're playing through now, and we're in our last part of that, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So that is really my week. I really haven't played much, but I'll talk.
Did
more
you
about
read
all
any
those
comics
games.
this week?
No, I did not. I pulled out
Big
one
fan.
that. Yeah, I know. I pulled out some behind me. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not because my chair's here. But I need to get caught up on House of Slaughter and Book of Slaughter, which is just a continuation and some side stories of Something is Killing the Children. So I need to read that. I don't know how good they are because I really like Something's Killing, but I don't know what those side stories are like. Jake, are they any good?
I mean, everybody that buys one buys the other, so I'm sure it's on par.
Yeah, I mean Tynion's really good, right? Like he keeps if his Eisners mean anything good for him, he keeps winning those. So there's that. So yeah, that I did not read anything this week, but that's my week. So pretty quick, as I said. And for people listening to us, we'll have more to come on that in a little bit. But Jake, why don't you take us home? I know you have some stuff for us with the news, and I'm excited because there's a couple things that
Also,
you know.
Jake, did you play any video games this week?
I did play some video games. I played some.
It's more dog shit Halo.
I did. I always play a lot of dog shit Halo. It's the most infuriating game, and also it's the worst Halo game ever made. And if any of you say otherwise, you are fake ass Halo fans. It is the worst Halo that's been made.
Not the best.
When do you play this? Like, do you wake up on a Monday morning and you're like, man, I'm gonna start my week off right, and then you immediately dive into Halo and you're like, well, that ruins it. Like, when does this fall
He plays with his dad.
in your week?
Yeah, so it is basically the way that I talk to my dad. So he and I play pretty much every weekday morning for an hour and a half or 2 hours, or if we're raging real hard, we'll call it early. But yeah, pretty much every weekday.
That's usually when I'll catch you too. Like if I'm on in the week, that's when you and I'll play too. Yeah,
yeah, which is always a treat.
Yeah,
because then it's like we have a chance.
we're gonna stomp people.
Yeah.
It must be so nice for you two to play together and know that you don't have to worry about Preston and I just effing it up.
Oh, it doesn't really, if it's you guys or 2 random people that just end up letting us down, it could be, there's numerous ways for people to let us down.
That's a bit harsh. I wouldn't say we let you down, but okay.
I got a positive KD most of the times, okay?
Yeah, well, my randoms do not ever.
Yeah.
One of the most infuriating things about Infinite is like the MMR in that game sucks. And it's supposed to be skill-based matchmaking, but all that means is that all 4 people on the other team are my level and all of my teammates are fucking trash. And I'm not just saying that, like they literally go like 0 and 14, which
That's bad.
is
That's
not
real
my
bad. That's
level.
Yeah.
So yeah, very frustrating. And I'm seeing a lot of I'm very like I have Twitter basically for the Halo community. And I mean, people are just saying that it's in the best place it's ever been and they're just loving it right now. And I'm like, I just don't think we're playing the same game. I'm glad that it's good for somebody, but it's not for me. It really, really is not for me. So I don't know.
Christian and I used to talk about that with Destiny. There's something about online communities, and I don't know if they're so heavily influenced by influencers or streamers, but like when it's at its worst, people are just like, oh my gosh, we're so excited. This, that, and the other. Like, why can nobody just be honest about the state of something and demand better?
Yeah.
Streamers are definitely not the ones influencing people about Halo because there's no streamers playing Halo.
Sure.
But I think it's tough. Like, I think that if you casually enjoy Halo Infinite is probably in the best place that it's been in, right? Like,
yep.
Now, Halo is not in the best place that it's ever been in, but Halo Infinite is the best place, and it's much improved from where it started. Again, from a casual point of view, if you're just hopping on, you're trying to play some matches, you just want to play some Halo, you don't really give a shit what happens, and you just want to. That's it. You're just in to play some Halo, and that's it. Then it definitely is. Like, they've improved the content rollout. There's new stuff coming, and a lot of the seasonal. The store is still. The prices on the store is insane, but in general, the casual experience is much more improved. However, I know, especially because when Jake and I play together, he and I lock in. I know, like, so, but your focus is like that all the time. So from a competitive point of view, trying to play a game not with a squad of four people that you know are going to hold it down regardless of whatever's on the other side of that matchmaking thing is infuriating. Like, it, because there's plenty of times that I'll be playing and it doesn't bother. But like, you're absolutely right in that when you go to do the matchmaking, you will be fighting, most of the time you'll be fighting people that are on your level, and then the other 3 people on your team are just like 0 and 16, and you're like, are you here? What is, I don't, and then like you'll look and you're like, nope, you're not a bot, like you are playing, you just, I guess you're very bad, which is fine. I'm not mad at you for being bad. I'm mad that you're in this match with me when you're not supposed to be.
Exactly.
And like, so then, but on the flip side, like there's other times where that happens, like, because there is times where you'll go into a match and you can tell that the other person is feeling that, where you have a squad of killers behind you, and then there's 4 like new people that are on the other side, and you're just like, oh, we're all going like 15-0 right now because everybody on the other side here is just bad. Like, the problem
but that
is
only
that
happens once every 2
it does.
weeks.
It does. It's true. It is true. That is true. It happens. But I think the problem with skill-based matchmaking in other competitive games, in fighting games, it works perfectly, right? Because you only have to find one other person that is on your level, right? So like, for instance, like I'm in like silver 1 right now in Street Fighter. It's really easy for the game to go, okay, here's somebody in Silver League, right? Whether it's 2, 3, 4, it doesn't matter. If you're in Silver League, we're at least comparable in some form or fashion. So here you go. Here's one person in Silver League. For shooters, because this is not a problem that's unique to Halo, like skill-based matchmaking, it just in shooters in general is just like when you're trying to find 16 people that are all around the same skill length, like it just doesn't. I don't know. I don't know what the fix is. Like I've never played a shooter that has done it properly. Like from as something as small as Quake Champions all the way up to as big as like Battlefield or whatever. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's every time you're not going to get people. Now, I don't know. Yeah. And I don't know what somebody could do to get around it, but yeah.
I do.
What?
It's to not have it in pubs and only have it in ranked.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. Yeah.
Like that's the whole point of ranked play, is to play people your rank. But in pubs, should not be a thing. If someone is a total fucking god and playing somebody that's been there day one, that's going to happen every now and then.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be every game mode.
I think, yeah, I could see I think that even if it was only in ranked matches, it would depend, right? You'd either still have it because they would try to eventually fill your match if nobody is joining that queue, right? They would go below your rank to toss people in it, and they might, wherever they fall is where they either on your team or the other team. Or the other option is you just don't start the match until enough people your rank have queued up. But is that a better end player experience? Right? Like if someone's sitting there waiting for 5 minutes before the match queues up, like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, again, it's not a problem unique to Halo, but for people, it's just I've never seen a competitive shooter that gets this right. Everybody complains about skill-based matchmaking in shooters across the board because it always, especially if when you're at a point, like it always feels like it's turned against you. Like when like you're just like, I would love to be on the other side of this, because you're right.
It is always against me.
It does feel like that. It really does. Because you're right. And like there's like once every 2 weeks, you're like, oh, I'm the one on the good team now, and this poor sucker is on the shitty team. Like you're like, oh, that sucks, but I'm really gonna give it to you this time.
The worst part is that I'll straight up drop 30 kills. Not even kidding. 30 out of 50. And I'll lose, and then someone on the other team will shit talk me in a message post game. It's like, look what I had to work with. That's the most
infuriating. Yeah.
When you're like, dude, if I were on your team, all of you.
Yeah, I would be your MVP if I was on your team, right?
Yeah. But I mean, whatever. The shit talk, sometimes it'll get to me, but most of the time, as you guys know, I can dish it back better personally.
I always respond with that picture of Shadow the Hedgehog that I sent you guys that one time, and usually
which
it always works. Yeah, it usually always works.
So yeah, been playing Halo, been playing Apex. The new ranked split happened a week or so ago, so trying to work my way up to master rank in that, which is not easy at all. And then I downloaded Baldur's Gate 3. I created my character, but haven't really done much else because I knew that we were all going to play together soon. So I really haven't dived too much into that. Looking forward to it on Wednesday. And then I started Zelda Oracle of Seasons, because they added that to Nintendo Switch Online, and for some reason I cannot find my physical copy of that game anywhere, so I was like, well, guess I'll play it on the Switch.
I almost made that. I almost made Seasons and Ages my next pick for our game book club, but I did not.
Oh man, I love those games.
I've beaten them both too, and I love them. I thought it would be a little hard for us because we like to find like definitive stopping points in that game to find like definitive, like let's make it to this point. But
do you guys remember
as well?
But like, because when we were growing up, obviously all those like the Brady games and all the guides, but there was all those different guide companies, but the guides that would get made for video games, and they would basically be like glorified art books that would have all this stuff in it. But do you guys remember the one for Oracle and Seasons that was double-sided?
Mhm.
So like God, dude,
Yeah.
we truly
The color
lived in
palette
the
on
golden
those were
age,
incredible.
man.
Yeah,
It was
We
so good of like physical media stuff.
I've still got a few Prima, however you say it,
Same.
strategy guides back there for like Star Fox Adventures and a couple for
Mhm.
Fire Emblem, and they were the best. They were
Dude, the
best.
JRPG ones for Prima games were incredible. Like
Yeah.
Fire Emblem ones, like the art that you would get in those, you're like, oh my god, like it's worth it just for that.
It absolutely is, because a lot of those games you don't get figures or other media of any kind. So like that
Nope.
book is all you have.
Mhm.
I have Majora's Mask, and my key is like I would love to have Ocarina of Time, like because I used to have that, and then I would have them both slabbed. Like, no, I don't care about a rating, right? Like I don't want CGC to give me a rating, but just a nice case that I could put them up.
Yeah.
So anytime I go to a con, I look for that one just because I have the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my week in gaming. I'm going on vacation this next week, and I think I'm trying to decide. I've got such a backlog for my Switch. I'm trying to decide what to take, but also, and you guys can make fun of me if you want to, but the new Story of Seasons game came out recently, which is just Harvest Moon.
Oh.
I'm a big Harvest Moon fan, but the games that come out nowadays that are called Harvest Moon are dog shit. The actual Harvest Moon games split off into Story of Seasons. So I'll probably check out that new one as well.
Well, if you're taking suggestions, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk did come out on the Switch.
Dude,
Hey man, the Switch is always looking for solid new games.
I know, but I keep telling myself I'm not going to buy any more games because of my backlog, and then I download Baldur's Gate 3. So who knows?
Yeah, join the club, man.
Yeah. I know. I'm preaching to the choir with you guys. So, but anyway, moving on. So we'll do the news bits. It was actually a pretty light news week. Casey had a lot more than me, but he gave his blessing to use his notes. So, starting off, Street Sharks is making a comeback with Mattel toys. Did you guys watch any Street Sharks when we were kids?
Hell,
I was aware.
yeah.
Yes, but can I say one thing?
Yeah.
If Vin Diesel's not tied to it, don't want to see it.
I'm going to share the screen here so that you guys can see the toys.
Yeah.
So
Fuck
Those are
yeah.
rad.
yeah, got Ripster,
Hell yeah, dude.
Carcass,
Like
Rad,
in
yeah.
all seriousness, this is so goofy.
Clampo.
But they should really dish out the money to get Vin Diesel to come in and do a commercial like he did
They
like in the
should, yeah.
90s. And it would be such a funny, nostalgic throwback, like
Here's
not taking themselves too seriously.
The question I have is, and I'm very happy to see Street Sharks like back in any fashion of somebody even saying the name Street Sharks, but what are like, I can't imagine that there is a single child that even knows what a street shark is.
No, but I think there's plan, and Jake, keep me honest here. I think there's a plan to redo a movie or a TV show.
I think so. I think it's a show
to bring it back. Yeah.
Oh, dope. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they don't fuck it up, but
yeah, I know, right? We'll see. I mean, it was very much turtles popped off and everybody was like, well, shit, we got to do something. So Street Sharks was one of those, but it was still pretty cool.
Gargoyle's still getting the middle finger right on.
Dude,
well, and
Gargoyles is getting lots of love. Yeah. Yeah. They've come back. They're working on a new show, and also they have 2 comic series out right now.
Well, it shows how much I know. Cool.
Yeah.
Mattel has also announced that, like, based off of the success of Barbie and Turtles, that like they have been planning for quite a while to revamp lots of toys and TV shows. And with the popularity of Barbie, I think has gone ahead to push them over to the edge to just move forward with all of that stuff.
The Mattelverse.
Well,
Yeah.
but will Barbie does the thing that
They won't have the tone of Barbie.
No.
but no, what I wonder is will like are they assuming that because of the success of Barbie movie that will translate into sales of Barbie toys? Because
I'm sure
I
it
don't
helps a little bit.
I think it has. Like they're about to release the the Ken. They're
Ken
releasing a
Nuff.
Ken version. Yeah, but like the Mojo Dojo Ken.
But
Okay.
here's the thing is I
And-
think that those will go like initially, right? Like adults who
Mhm.
saw the movie will be like, "Oh, cool, I'll buy a toy," like just for like the meme or like for a nostalgia
Mhm.
thing. But like going forward, like if you're releasing a new Barbie that is not tight, like it's just outside of the movie, you're releasing a new Barbie. I can't imagine that. Like, I feel like Barbies are still going to sell like to younger children. They're just going to sell whatever level they've been selling. Like, I don't know that kids care about. I have no idea.
Barbie's still Barbie.
I bet you will absolutely see a bump for a while, maybe a couple of years. Not sustainable, but you'll see a bump for a little bit. But I think we've talked about this before, Christian. We're just in this time of we're in this perfect mix of people our age that are willing to spend money on nostalgia and willing to spend even more money on nostalgia if they have kids. But even the people that don't have kids now have somewhat expendable income. Thank you, economy. But like, you have disposable income there. So I think you're in the perfect mix that like they can afford to redo a lot of this and they're going to see a pretty good bump across multiple lines for at least a while.
The only frame of reference I have is like, so like for the like a Street Sharks thing, it's like if I look at my brother and I was like my little brother and I'm like, hey, do the words Street Sharks, gargoyles, or I don't know, whatever, Static Shock, did any of those mean anything to you? No. Okay.
Sure.
Cool. And then like for my niece, like I remember specifically, and she's 8. So then it's like when the Barbie movie was first getting, I specifically remember when that trailer and everything was coming out, she was like, "What's that?"
Mm-hmm.
And if there was ever somebody who a Barbie was going to be aimed at, it would be an 8-year-old little girl. And she couldn't even. I don't know what that is.
You're going to use the movie. You're going to use the movie to rely on the nostalgia and the success.
Yeah, right. Which I think that'll happen. Kids.
The other TV shows I think can be really successful. The catch is, where do they show? So if you get a really good deal, like say Disney buys these shows up from Mattel and produces them, that'll be hugely successful because you put it on Disney Plus. The problem is if you're going to rely on Saturday morning cartoons, they're not watched as much. And if you pick the wrong streaming service like Netflix, they're going to get lost with all the other content. But if Mattel is smart and do a smart streaming deal with a platform like Disney that needs more content and has kids specific areas, I think they're going to see a lot of success for a while.
Now I could see partnering with Disney would make sense. The only thing that I wonder is like, because CEO is going to CEO, I think it would be more likely for us to see the Mattel app come. And it's like, here's all of our Mattel originals.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder who owns it. Like, there's a good chance that like Peacock or somebody may actually already own that old IP, the TV shows, and maybe it'll be there. And again, like Peacock does have a kids area, and that would be successful. It needs to be something smaller than a Netflix or a Hulu because they have so much content. It'll just be brushed over.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I'm here for it.
All right. And moving along, we got a first look at Apple's new Godzilla show. Did anybody see that stuff?
Did.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, Apple TV or Apple TV Plus, whatever, is doing a show called Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, starring Kurt Russell. It's going to be 10
and
episodes.
Don't hate on the son. I don't know his son's name. I'm
the U.S. agent.
It's a son.
Lil Russell is his name.
Lil Russell.
Wyatt Russell is his name.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
But yeah, it's going to be a 10-episode multi-generational saga, which follows 2 siblings as they discover their family's connection to a secretive organization known as Monarch. It's going to follow the events of Godzilla versus Kong. And I'm quite looking forward to it. Think it'll be cool. Obviously, this was one of Casey's notes.
Yeah.
I'm sure Casey is also very much looking
Yes.
forward to it.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I'm gonna say I believe the show is going to be an incredible success for two reasons. One, because it's being
People
made
like
by
me will eat it up.
It's being made, it's being made by Lionsgate though, so it ties directly into the films, and it's being made by the people that have stake in the films. And two, because say what you want about Apple TV Plus, they don't have near as much content as other streaming services, but man, the quality of that content has been so
Yes.
good that I only have high hopes for this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that? I saw a trailer during Oppenheimer for a movie coming out on Apple about Native Americans. You know what I'm talking about?
Flower of the Blood Moon, Scorsese film
Yeah,
with
the Scorsese
Leonardo
film,
DiCaprio.
yeah. That looks so good. Like, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm Christian knows I'm a Leonardo DiCaprio stan. So we have in Scorsese. I'm all about it.
Yeah. It's a good pairing.
Yeah.
One bit of comic news, because I am a comic book podcast. There is a Speed Force comic coming out, Alex. You're a Flash fan. It's going to be written by Jarrett Williams with art by Daniel D. Nicolo. However, it's going to be about Wallace Ace Flash from the New 52 and Avery Ho, who is the Flash of China. It's about them.
Can I just say, it is so funny when you said a Speed Force comic, the pain that was on Alex's face. It is clear that the Flash movie did so much psychic and physical damage to him that even saying the word Flash is just reminded of Ezra Miller's dumb face in that he's just like, oh, great, more Flash stuff.
I have it's funny you say that. I don't even know. I guess this has probably happened subliminally, but in the office, I just put up a TV and stuff. So in the background, while I've been doing other stuff the past 2 weeks, I've just randomly had the first few seasons of the CW show playing, because like the first few seasons are actually really good. Then it really lost its way. But like I've been watching that and I didn't even think about it. But I was just like on Netflix, like, oh, let's restart this. And yeah, I'm sure it's some subliminal like sadness. It's like I need better Flash in my life.
But this could be good.
It could be.
Could be. There's a lot of things it can be.
Yeah. I'm not.
It's probably better than the movie, right?
The odds are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am not familiar with the writer, so I can't say anything about their writing. I'm also not super familiar. Jarrett Williams. I also don't know too much about either of those characters. Avery Ho, like, she was in the Rebirth. Alex, I don't know if you read Superman, the Superman of China comic that came out at that time. It was really good. And towards the end, there was a Justice League of China that I believe Avery Ho was a part of. So there have been many occasions over the years at DC where they'll take two characters who like don't have a lot going on or don't have their own books, or maybe they aren't selling well, and they'll just put them together. And sometimes it works, like Green Arrow, Green Lantern, Hard Traveling Heroes. Those were two characters on the verge of cancellation, and Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil put them together, and it's now a classic at DC. So who knows? Maybe the same will happen.
Jarrett Williams' like published works right now are Super Pro KO graphic novel, a Rick and Morty graphic novel, which I don't love, and a Yo Gabba Gabba anthology.
I mean,
at the resume.
You got to do something, man, before you make it to the big two.
That's true. That's
Look,
a good
man,
point.
Bill's
Look
gotta
at you,
get paid,
glass
all right?
half full, man.
Yeah.
You are a glass half full kind of guy. I like it.
The thing is I want Marvel and DC to bring in new talent. Like I get sick of the same names over and over. So the fact that, you know, if all this dude has done is one Rick and Morty book and one probably original book, that Super KO, whatever,
Yeah.
It's like good on DC for giving them a chance. So
He's
hopefully
also
it does well.
not for nothing. He's also a Black creator, which is a little bit of diversity for DC. So maybe we'll get a different perspective that way too.
Well, that's good. I'm sure that Wallace West probably hasn't had that kind of a person writing them before. So, I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, DC's been doing a really good job lately, especially through like the Milestone imprint of letting Black creators do their thing. They even had a milestone like new talent showcase, highlighting Black creators. So, and
was that milestone showcase original work, or was that where they gave them one-offs for some of the existing characters?
I'm sure it was for some existing characters.
I thought I saw that, and I, if I'm not mistaken, a few of those were pretty well received as well.
Yeah. Plus, I am a huge Static fan, and I also read the Icon and Hardware books as they come out, just because I want to support them and I want them to keep going. So, but anyway, Speed Force could be cool. I'm sure Flash fans will check it out, and I'm sure a couple piece of shit South County folks will come in and tell me how DC is going to hell. So we'll see what happens. But anyway,
that's amazing.
But none of my people that listen to my podcast, that was a jab at someone very specific. That was just for me.
And the one guy that may eventually stumble over it, you know who we're talking about.
Yeah. Exactly. Two more bits. The first one, unfortunately, Thor 5 is in development.
Saw this.
Yay.
Taika has a good chance of returning to do it. We don't know if Chris Hemsworth will or not. Whatever.
You know what? Right? I heard his younger brother could probably do it.
Yeah, he's been picking up roles too. Yeah,
just slide him right in.
I bet you he does it because minus the 2 semi-successful Netflix launches of the whatever movie he's doing, which I don't think brought him a whole lot of money, what else is he getting paid for?
Res Dogs.
The thing is, I don't.
No, not Taika. I'm talking about Chris Hemsworth.
Gosh, okay.
I'm sure he's to the point where he just does whatever the fuck he wants. Which
are you telling me? Wealthy people get satisfied with their level of money.
He has
and decide to not do other things.
Well, but I also didn't he have like some medical issues come up recently?
Yes,
I couldn't tell you.
He did.
So
he did that Disney show because of that, right? It was supposed to be like all this extreme stuff because he was given some bad medical news, but I don't remember what that was.
Right. So I don't know. It is what it is. I like him as Thor. I just don't like how he's written. So, Thor,
he has a predisposition for Alzheimer's.
Shit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's what it was. He is likely to inherit Alzheimer's.
Okay. Very unfortunate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Jake, because the last Thor movie, I think at least everybody on this podcast can agree was easily the worst. It was very bad.
Yes.
What are the streets saying about like how have people's opinions turned on that movie? Like, have you seen people come over and be like, yeah, that was a bad movie? Or do you get people that come in the shop and they're like, nah, man, you're a hater. That Love and Thunder was super good or whatever?
The average Joe usually says that it wasn't as good as Ragnarok, but they still enjoyed it.
There was nothing to enjoy.
I
fucking hated Ragnarok too. So it's like if you like one, you're gonna like the other. But yeah, most people did not enjoy it as much as Ragnarok. So
okay, but people haven't turned to hating it yet.
No, No, not
There
enough
was-
people. Not enough.
That's infuriating because
It's a bad movie.
you have one of the best scenes from one of the best dramatic like character actors out there where he is like
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, thank you, is sitting there and like everything's like dark and his eyes are glowing orange and like you could tell he's about to kill some kids and he's very scary. And that is the single 2 minutes where they make him scary and intimidating, that entire movie, where they make him Gore the God Butcher that he was from the comics. And the rest of that movie, you waste that talent for no reason.
You waste the second or third best Thor story of all time.
Yeah.
The God Butcher.
You waste
saga.
two
Two.
good stories, really.
Two in one
Well, I
movie.
mean, like,
yeah.
say what you want about Lady Thor, but
that didn't need to be brought into it. That
Mhm.
that is a
Mhm.
heavy topic that does not deserve the Disney treatment, and also they kind of poke fun at that, which just doesn't sit well with me.
Sucks. Yeah.
They do. They poke fun at the whole
Um,
time. Like
yeah.
they're laughing while she like has cancer. And you're like, what is this?
Yeah, no, it's
it's not-
absolute dog shit.
It would be so different if you spent an hour talking about like the trials and tribulations you're going through, and then you showed a couple of minutes of levity, right? Like human beings are human beings. So even I'm sure people with cancer with their family in hospital beds find moments that they can enjoy the moment where they can laugh and they can have fun. But like you never earned that in this film. It's like from minute one, it's like vending machine joke, and you're just like, why are we having jokes at this serious time? Like there's nothing serious. It's just it's terrible.
It
It's
just
terrible.
seemed weird to me. I remember when I think it was actually on the Two Worlds pod, but it was on this podcast. But I remember there was a point where when the news broke that they were going to be slamming those two stories together, the sigh that Jake let out was just so pained. Like it was just like he knew even all of the misgivings of the other movies that you've had, you were like, there's just no way in hell this is going to be good. Like there's nothing that they could do to make it good. Because I don't think that ever works, right? Like there's two stories that are full-length stories on their own, slamming them together, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but these two stories do not happen at the same time.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Right. And so like it's slamming them together to make them happen at the same time, just to like for fun, I guess. It just seems like I cannot believe that there was not anybody in the room that looked at somebody and said, this is really fucking stupid.
I can't believe that they said I'm actually not upset that they took the stories, right? Like I don't agree with them being together, but if you're going to take them, I can't believe that somebody said Taika Waititi is the one that has proven he's capable of handling the subject matter. Like Jojo Rabbit was the most serious thing he did, and Jojo Rabbit only had 10 minutes that punch you in the gut at the very end. The rest of it is all humor. So like what said that Taika is the man to handle these two very mature storylines? Like
I'll tell you what it was, Alex. It was Ragnarok somehow making $14 billion. And they were like, he can do whatever the fuck he wants because we're going to make that much money again.
Yeah,
there's no good
so
reason.
frustrating.
Well, here's the
No
thing.
good
It
reason.
makes it because Ragnarok's success, regardless of whatever you think of the movie, makes sense at the time. Like at the time it came out, it's like a post Guardians world, right? But because Guardians was so like did so well because it was just nonstop quipping. Like I'm just sending you quips all day and you're just gonna be laughing in your seat the whole time. So all you have to do is get Thor to do that same thing, and then it's like, oh, cool, it's somebody new doing the quip thing. It's gonna print money. But even
they changed the entire trajectory of that. The Guardians changed everything, right?
yeah, but that's my
formula.
point, right? So like, but like I think Ragnarok was like the next big movie after Guardians, the next big solo movie for one of the people, like that wasn't like a mashup. I think I don't remember. Either way, my point is that they do that. Ragnarok came out at the perfect time where that was still the new hotness, and so having Thor and other people come up and do some funny jokes, and then like even like having like the moment with like having Hulk do something funny, and it's like, oh, everyone's like, oh my god, it's funny like the last time it was funny, ha ha ha, and they just keep going. Like it was going to print money. But
Ragnarok was 3 years after Guardians, but came out the same year that Guardians 2 came out.
Okay, so then there you go. Yeah, right. So, but that's So it was
cutter.
Yeah, it was. But I guess that's kind of where I'm getting at, is like, by the time Love and Thunder came out, like I think the burnout had already started for a good amount of people, and like at least very much started, which is why you even get people, even the clearly like the defenders of defenders that are going to come out would be like, well, I still enjoyed it, but it wasn't as good as the last one or whatever. Like that's just showing that they're on the start of their little burnout train. But I don't know, man. I feel
what's
like
crazy though? It wasn't as good as the last one, and I fucking hated the last one.
Yeah. And that's what I was gonna say, dude. There's no. I think that it's as somebody who I've said multiple times, like after Endgame, I think, and even before, like I was already burnt out on a lot of those movies because it's just tiring. But like by the time when Preston took me to go, the entire time I was sitting there for Love and Thunder, I was sitting there and I was like rubbing my face. And I'm like, please, I hope he doesn't like this movie because I'm going to be really mean to this movie, and I don't want to ruin it for him. And then he looks over at me, he goes, that sucked, and I was like, oh, thank God, like because I wasn't prepared. I was like,
Jake, it takes a lot.
Jake, let me ask you a question then on this topic. And I hope I'm not pulling away from any other news. I don't know if you saw the reports about Dazzler. Did anybody see that?
I did.
So the rumor right now is that Dazzler might be introduced in the upcoming Marvel movie, and she will be played by Taylor Swift. So let me ask you a question here on this current topic that we're on. Do we think that it does? But like, is she a proven actress? I don't know. Maybe she is. Taylor Swifties, don't come at me, please. I'm terrified of that community.
You're not ready for that community.
I am not ready. They will cancel me in seconds. And my wife, I have one in the other living room that paid like half of a mortgage to go to a concert by herself. She doesn't leave the house by herself, and she made me drop her off at that concert so she go by a whole different level I'm not prepared to deal with. Anyway, so with what we're talking about here, right, and the trajectory of these Marvel films being bad, there are a couple of standouts in my opinion. Like I think Shang-Chi was fantastic, one of my favorites. The top 3 Marvel films for me. And then I actually think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was pretty good.
Very good.
I thought it had some heart in it, right? Do we think as a whole those are outliers and Marvel has jumped the ship and we're going to continue to get trash with some of these new announcements? Or do we think like, because Ant-Man
all together, everybody,
I say, but let me ask, like Quantumania also wasn't good, but Doctor Strange was pretty good, Multiverse of Madness. And then, you have a couple. So where do you see the like Marvel, but the shows were bad, right? Like Secret Invasion was not great. So how do you see things standing right now? And then when you look at Taylor Swift, like Harry Styles was at the end of Eternals, right? Like, are they just saying, let's go for these money grabs and like quality be damned?
Yes, exactly. But
yes,
I think these last few shows relatively have bombed. Like I much prefer most of the shows to the last several movies that have come out. Falcon and Winter Soldier was good. Loki, incredible.
WandaVision, incredible.
She-Hulk, except for the finale, was really good. So definitely way better, but they're not performing as well. So I think Marvel's really going to cut back on that kind of content. And I think that, we probably will get stuff like Taylor Swift as Dazzler, even if she's in the movie for 5 seconds, because all of her fans are going to buy a movie ticket. And that's a lot of movie tickets right there.
That's what I was going to get, is like, this is not an indictment on either Harry Styles or Taylor Swift. Like they might both be able to act their asses off. I have no
Harry
idea.
Styles has proven his acting chops already.
I'm sure.
He's actually been in movies, to be fair.
I'm like I said, they could probably act their asses off. What I'm saying is that you do not put them in your movie unless you are specifically wanting to get somebody to come. Like Jake said, people will go buy a ticket to something to know it doesn't matter if it's good, bad, if it's the worst movie that's ever created. If Taylor Swift she's like one of the biggest, if not the biggest artist of all time right now. Like it's going to sell tickets.
But Harry was different because that was a secret nobody knew, and it was in credit and a surprise. Where this one is like significantly,
and we'll never get that again.
Like,
we'll never get that again.
Yeah.
But as soon as people found out that Harry Styles were in it, I'm sure a bunch of Harry Styles fans were like, "Oh my God, he's in!" And then they went and saw it just to go see him for that 5 seconds because it was worth it to them.
Yeah.
So like, it still has the same effect either way. For me, I like even hearing like when you guys were talking about Shang-Chi, like I believe you in that it was good. I never saw it. I don't know, but I believe you guys that it was good. Same thing with Doctor Strange, but like it's just too much. Like I can't, like they release like fucking 80 movies in a month and it's just like, Jesus Christ. Like it's just tiring.
I'm glad that you brought something up again, with Doctor Strange. And I know that I kind of talked about it again on an episode a couple weeks ago, but that currently standing is my favorite Marvel movie because it was so unique and not like any other Marvel movie we've had. Like it was still a Marvel movie, but it was a Sam Raimi movie.
Yes.
And most people hated it. Like all the online community hated that movie. They're hating on this stuff that is unique. And because of that, again, I don't think that we're going to get quality anymore. If we're going to get the same old fucking Guardians bullshit that we keep getting, and we're not going to get.
Did you like the third, or did you hate the third too?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen Quantumania. I haven't seen Wakanda Forever.
Quantumania is straight bad. I watched it on a plane to Japan, and I could have spent that time doing other stuff. It was
real bad. I believe you.
It was real bad.
It's just one of those, I don't know, man. Like I'm way, way more excited for new DC movies because we don't get them very often.
So good. Okay. Good point. Good turning. Are you excited? Like Blue Beetle reviews look pretty good, but so did Flash reviews when I went to see it, and I left incredibly disappointed. So how do you sit on some of that pre-Whedon films?
Yeah, I'm excited for Blue Beetle. I thought the trailer looked cool. I thought his suit looks really good. I believe people when they say Blue Beetle is good because the Flash, they did all those reshoots. They were trying to hype it up so that people would buy a movie ticket and, soften the blow of all those reshoots and all that money they dumped into it. Blue Beetle, let's be real. Warner Brothers does not give a shit about Blue Beetle. It's not going to be part of James Gunn's thing. Like Blue Beetle doesn't have people like Stephen King coming out and saying, I don't normally watch movies like this, but it's great, like they did with Flash. So
did they get him to say that?
Oh yeah, 100%. And a lot of people did that. So if people are just going to Blue Beetle and coming out and saying, yeah, I liked it, it was good, I think it might be.
Okay. When I saw the trailer for Blue Beetle, this is just a very casual take. When he dragged the really big sword across the ground and then kicked it and then did it up on his shoulder, I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I don't know this care, but I was like, "That was dope."
They were putting this trailer together, and they're like, "Well, let's not show too much." And they go, "Yeah, but there's this dude that lives in Milwaukee. I know is going to be all about this scene."
When Preston sent the trailer, I was like, "Yeah, so it's like another superhero movie." Then he did the sword thing, and I was like, "Well, that was cool."
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited for that. The last bit of news still does tie into all this. There's a rumor floating around that the next Avengers movie, which is called Avengers: Secret Wars, will be an MCU soft reboot. It will be the final send-off for the MCU that we know, as well as Fox's X-Men, and that we may get some recasting for certain characters. So
So what does that mean if like so the characters we know, a lot of people have been leaving, but I get it. Like that's a final death nail for like Benedict Cumberbatch and probably Elizabeth Olsen and people that have been there for a while that want out. I get that. But for Marvel's like for X-Men, like how are we sending X-Men off? Like we haven't introduced them. Or are we counting those other Fox X-Men movies as canon?
You got Deadpool's coming out with like Hugh Jackman and Wolverine. Like they're bringing all that together, and it's
but I've never
part of the MCU. And
Kevin Feige, I've never considered them part of the MCU. Said that Kevin
Feige was in talks with Hugh Jackman about having a huge part in Secret Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I think
okay,
it's just multiverse is like the fucking buzzword here lately. So we'll probably see some characters show up. And like Preston said, Deadpool 3, you know, they Hugh's coming back for that. They're getting Jennifer Garner to have an Elektra cameo in that. Yeah. Like, I just, it's probably going to be the end of all that for a little while. And I hope that it is because, boy, am I tired of multiverse. Here's 14,000 cameos that everybody can... I
fucking member bears.
I think casuals think the more cameos in a movie, the better the movie is, and that is just not the case. So,
did you at least? But do you like the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse multiverse?
Yeah, but I think that's different.
Okay,
it's extremely different.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I'm just making
Much
sure we didn't hate all
quality.
multiverses because I agree with you with this Marvel one. It's way too much. It needs to go. But
those two movies
Spider-Man,
are like 5 years apart, and all of these movies are like 6 months apart.
Right,
man,
like
that. Yeah,
the you know, Across the Spider-Verse or whatever was really good. Also, the movie, the Spider-Man movie that had Tom, like the live action Spider-Man in it, I thought was really good too. But that was like,
shout out to Sony holding it, keeping it strong.
Right, but also
I'm kidding.
That live action one kind of opened a can of worms, right? Because now what came after that? Doctor Strange. So everybody thought that we were going to get 1 billion cameos. And really, people don't like that movie because the cameos that they wanted didn't happen. They were just
Sam Raimi
hyping
cameos
themselves up, right? And it's like, well, just because it wasn't what you thought might happen doesn't mean it's bad. So I don't know. I think, like with most fandoms, the fans ruin it.
Yeah.
But what can you do?
So if it's a soft reboot, does that mean that then like what are they just going to do new stories, or does like the whole thing start over? Like, are we getting a new
Iron Man somewhere in there?
I mean, maybe, but I think they're going to switch their focus to like obviously the Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
right. So, but like, I guess my question is like, does Iron Man get a new set of movies where it's just like a new Tony Stark?
I think they'll have a new Tony Stark, but he won't get his own set of movies, kind of thing. So like, we'll still have Iron Man in the MCU, but he just won't have his own solo movies. He'll just show up in other movies.
But they've already I think laid the groundwork for some of that. Like,
but
yeah, you're gonna have Riri Williams like in there for a while as Ironheart. She'll probably have bit roles, but she's not gonna. I doubt. I don't know. I doubt she gets a trilogy like Iron Man does. But I'm fine with the idea at actually switching the focus from the heroes we know to like the first family of Marvel, right, and some other stuff like those. Those can be really cool. Yeah, like the X-Men movies. Sometimes had good parts and had really, really bad parts. I would like to see a solid X-Men movie. Nobody has handled Fantastic Four the way it needs to be handled. I would love to.
That's true. There's very few people that have handled Final Fantasy well. I agree, Alex.
But Fantastic Four fans like would love to see a solid Fantastic Four film and stuff. So I'm intrigued by that, but I don't think a lot of us can invest a promise of another 10 years. So I hope that they do take some slower, like, here's a film, right? Like, we're not setting up for a trilogy of films. Like, here's a film about just this character, because I think we're all burnt out on another 10-year investment.
Yeah. I think the studios are too. So, but yeah, that was the news. Preston, you asked me to
Before you do, I do have
Uh-huh.
one little bit of news I want to say because this is as far as like the testing room needs to have this one as a shout out. Good old send off happened today. As far as a new article came out, Charles Martinet is no longer voicing and retiring as Mario.
Oh,
Big sad today.
Yeah.
So he's retiring. He's gonna be like a Mario, whatever they call it, like not influencer, but like he's gonna be like the person like who goes around talking about Mario and spreading the good word of Mario, if you will. But yeah, it's that era, our era.
He just needs to
Mario
write a
is no
book.
longer. He needs to do something.
I feel like writing a book could be really interesting and fun.
Yeah, I would love to hear about that. I'd love to hear about him coming up as Mario through 64 and onward.
I hope Nintendo just keeps Mario mostly silent. I really hope this doesn't lead to.
I mean, all you gotta do is use all the audio you already have for him because he's not fully.
That's what I'm saying.
Otherwise, you hire Chris Pratt. You know.
No.
You know there will be a game comes out in a couple of years that has Chris Pratt's voice in it.
Here's the
It's gonna be the worst.
Yeah, it's not even just Chris Pratt. It would be anybody if they hire. It's like if they make a Mario game where him and Luigi don't shut the fuck up and they just are like always yapping at each other, it would be so fucking dumb. Like I would hate it. Like just Mario can just stay, and Luigi and Toad and all, they can all just stay silent, and they can be little text boxes that pop up that say what they're saying, and you can read it, and you just like we have been. I don't need a full cutscene of Mario.
And it's like Link.
Ugh.
It's like Link,
Yes.
right? In Zelda, like you can give a lot of people voices, but there are specific characters that people have known for so long that you will never satisfy a fan base by picking one voice. You can't.
There's no
Like,
voice that I want for Link. I don't want it.
No,
I'm fine with him just being Mr. Hop 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 Man, and that's it. You can just be done. That's it.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
all right.
What comic you got,
So
buddy?
I'll narrow it down to 3 just real quick because there was some really good stuff this week.
Comics of the week.
The end of Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil saga happened. Are really good. Marco Cicchetto cover there.
Yep.
Daredevil always looks cool no matter what. It was a really good issue. Truly the end of an era. Looks like we might get some Elektra Daredevil going forward for a bit, maybe. I don't know. But it was really good.
Yeah, I really like that Woman Without Fear run they had. That was a good run.
It was good.
Liked a lot.
Then we had a new arc start in World's Finest. I love Dan Moore's art. It's so good.
Christian's read some of that.
This issue, it's the first meeting of Batman and Superman, according to Mark Waid, which, sign me up for that, right? It reads like a Silver Age comic, but in the best way. Nice. It was really, really good. And then finally, Casey and I have been talking about this series for a while, but Andrew McLean's Godzilla War for Humanity came out.
I love that. I love the color of that.
Yeah. So Andrew McLean is doing the covers. He is the writer and artist of Image's Headlopper, which I am such a huge fan of. The interior art is really good as well. Try to show a little bit there.
Oh, that's
really rad. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah. It was a really, really good first issue. There's a new kaiju in there, but there's also some fun stuff at Monster Island. Manila makes an appearance.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And then help me out, Christian. The crab one, is it like Ibra or something like that?
Oh, I think it might be. Holy shit. That's a deep cut.
Yeah. But there's a fight with, here's the page. Oh shit. Fight with Ibra and Manila there at the end.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah.
Oh,
I like how he doesn't have
Yeah.
sharp teeth. He just has normal teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yep. So that was a really good start to that series. If anyone's into Godzilla, definitely check out War for Humanity. So,
all right.
But yeah, that's all I got, fellas. That's it for me this week.
Right.
We
Yes,
feel like
Ibra.
we
yes.
Ibra. Okay.
We made you go long, Jake. We apologize. That's what
Oh, that's
happens.
okay.
We
That's
talk
what
so damn
happens.
much.
I did
I
the same
knew.
thing. I did it as I did it when I was on Anime Boys. I kept talking about random plot points. So I was like, I found this funny, so I'm gonna talk about it for 15 minutes.
That's the whole point of
Yeah.
this, man.
That's what
Yeah.
happens.
Christian likes to pontificate, so I hope you can't. I'm kidding. I'm
Both
kidding.
of you.
I'm joking. I could not envision doing a podcast with anyone else. This is so take that how you want it. I'm lonely. So anyway.
right.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna sign off here. So I'll give the classic thank you for joining our episode of the testing room. And for those of you listening to the testing
we
room,
could do.
we
You know
have
what? Because
What?
it's like the gaming and like comic book podcast. What if we did like a comic book, like it would be like, it doesn't have to be verses, but you know what I'm saying, like the old like a Marvel
Testing room
versus DC, like
versus-
this, and like have it
Yeah.
slammed together or something. Not that I want to make more work for you, Preston, but
that conversation could have totally happened after we did the sign off. So
Oh,
anyway,
blah, 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 blah.
say for those of you listening to the testing room, we have hang on a little bit longer. We have more Metro 2033 Redux to talk about. So thank you, Jake, for letting us crash you. But over to you to sign off for your fans.
No, thank you for making yourselves available for this fun crossover. Next time we'll have to make sure Casey is involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whenever we all have time to record a 3-hour episode.
Yeah. Plus.
Yeah, it was super fun. So everybody from my show, thanks for joining. I know it was a little bit different, but hope you had a good time. And we'll get back to the normal stuff next week when hopefully Casey feels better. So
Feel better, Casey.
Feel better, Casey.
Yeah, feel better.
yeah. So I appreciate you boys, and we'll catch you listeners next time. See you guys.